Hi, everyone. Welcome to Source Snack Break. I am Ren with Source. Today is Thursday, July 30th. Before we get started, I'll explain a couple things about the webinar tool that you're all using. You're all muted automatically, but you do have access to the live chat there on the right, so you can pop in your favorite emoji to try it out. You can also use the live chat to ask questions or comment, and we'll be sure we answer any questions you have, so bring it on. We love them. We'll also send you a recording of the webinar after the presentation so you can reference it later or send it to a friend, whatever you need. Today's guest is our friend Herb with Plastpro fiberglass doors. I'm so excited to chat about doors. Hey, how's it going?
Great. How about yourself? Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be a part of this.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about your background? How did you get into selling doors or talking doors all the time?
Well, I started out like most, working my way up through. I started in a basic lumber yard and just continued to work my way up, through the process of being inside sales and then eventually outside sales, just focusing mainly on builders, whether it's small or your high end or even commercial, as well as some of your architectural, and as a project manager where you deal with doors, millwork, hardware, cabinets, cover the gauntlet. And then once, the recession hit, I was able to go back and get my degree. And once I completed it, the opportunity with Plastpro arose. And since then, it's been fabulous.
All doors all the time.
All doors. Where one door opens, another closes. So it presents opportunities.
I love that. Okay, well, I'm really excited to chat about doors because they're cool. So can you tell us a little bit about Plastpro as a company and a little bit about what makes fiberglass doors different from different types of doors?
Absolutely. So with Plastpro, it started in Ashtabula, Ohio, and it's a fully automated system. That's what really separates us from the masses. We're the first in the world to create a fully automated system that's set up to where it's a compression molded product, right? And so in comparison to wood or steel, with wood, you have all these different moving parts and components, right? When it comes to fiberglass, it's compression molded, sheet molded skin made out of fiberglass, right? So you have one continuous skin. And plus that impact resistance in comparison to your wood or steel doors in the marketplace. And the beauty of it, when you have a fully automated system, that means it's going to be built the same way every time, right? In comparison to doing it by hand. Humans, everything, many times we alter things, even though we do it repetitive. You signed your name, and then at the end of the day, it's just a blur. That fully automated system, right? It's produced exactly the same each and every time.
So when it comes to selecting doors, what are the different types of doors a designer could work with, and why do you think that fiberglass is the best option? Like, what are the different types out there, and why would a designer choose fiberglass, or are there certain applications that it works really well in?
And that's a great question, Ren. And so based on my experience, I've had the opportunity not only to work with many different doors in the marketplace, but also the different types of manufacturers. The main reasons why I came to Plastpro, because the challenges that we have in the Northwest, we love wood. But based on the elements, right, we have different types of climates that we deal with here. Wood is acceptable to the splitting, the checking, and cracking. When you have steel doors, they're acceptable to denting, versus a fiberglass door. Fiberglass door adds impact resistance, right? And especially with our fiberglass doors, it's a compression molded skin, and we've used HydroShield technology, meaning that door is sealed all 6 sides. So it's not exposed to the wood elements as such as the wood and or steel door. And from a manufacturing process and lessening our fiber footprint or carbon footprint, you're less likely having to reproduce a fiberglass door in comparison to wood or steel. The beauty of fiberglass is it mimics real wood, as you see in examples here. You see the many different colors. You have one that's stained paint. You have many different glass configurations. It's more competitively priced than your typical wood or steel door in the marketplace. Different heights and widths available with the fiberglass, the longevity of the fiberglass in comparison to the other examples, with that. So as you can see, it has a lesser impact on the environment. You can get crazy with it. You get fun. Look at the colors that you have there. And as we, the first one you have that orange door, people look orange, but then you look around and it pops. It's right.
Yeah. We have a couple neighbors with bright orange doors or bright teal doors, and you always spot them. They look great. Well, case in point, here we go. So let's chat a little bit about the HydroShield technology. Can you talk a little bit about what that is and what that means for a designer or a project? Like, what can they tell their clients about?
And this is really a great question, and it really gets into the heart and soul of what separates the Plastpro fiberglass doors from the masses. So when you think HydroShield, obviously hydro referring to water, but shield as a protection. So it goes back to what I mentioned earlier. Not only is the door sealed on 6 sides, and what that means is there's no exposed wood edges. So from the top of the door to the bottom of the door, you don't have to worry about water infiltration, mold buildup, right? Comparison to the steel, which is huge in every marketplace, right? Because we deal with those things. Because the last thing you want to do is have to worry about replacing it, right? We all hate callbacks. As a designer, the product's finished and you get a call. Oh, we've got an issue. Plastpro fiberglass door limits the callback. It has a continuous LVL, laminated veneer lumber. That adds to the strength and integrity of the door. So it eliminates any movement in the door. You know, any warpage with that. You have multiple contacts of wood to place hardware. You know, we do a lot of multi-point locking hardware. It's one continuous piece of hardware what allows you to fasten into the door, right? Whereas other products that are in the marketplace, that laminated veneer lumber, that continuous lock block, is shortened to where it's only 20 or 24 inches. So once you screw in that type of apparatus, over time it will fail. And then you need to replace the door, right? As you can examples there.
Excellent. So when it comes to shielding a door from the elements, you're looking at water, you're looking at snow, you're looking at all kinds of things because that will affect the performance of the door over a long term. Is that sort of what designers should keep in mind?
Absolutely, because many a times when the architects design the homes, there's not enough overhang to protect it from the elements, right? And as you know, it's a southwest or southern exposure. You've got extreme heats, you know, especially this time, right? We're experiencing extreme heat in the Northwest that we're not used to, right? And so that's what's key to when it comes to the fiberglass. But just like any product that's in the marketplace, it must be protected. We don't go out into the sun if we don't put on some type of protection or sunscreen. It's the same with any product that's designed. You must paint it and make sure that you paint it with the right materials, right? Fiberglass are susceptible to heat. However, there are heat reflective paints in the industry that will help minimize that, you know, contact because of that. But overall, the protection, you don't have to worry about the denting, the splitting. You don't have to worry about if somebody kicks a ball and it hits the door, right? But it's not just the door. It's the frame that's associated with it. It's all about installation. If the door is not installed correctly, the air, the water, light, I'm sure many of you may have some light coming through the bottom of your door, right? Or you see some movement. You know, in the wintertime, you got more heat escaping. You have rain infiltrating, and a lot of that is the installation, not the door. Yeah. And so that's one thing that designers want to keep in mind. That's why it's important to select the right product for the right opening.
Speaking of that, the elements, do fiberglass doors help with like thermal bridging? Are they good at retaining heat in the wintertime?
Absolutely, a great question, and yes, they are. So the beauty of it is during the summertime now, it'll be cool. It has a better insulating value than your typical steel wood door, up to 6 times more insulating value. Plus, with the Plastpro door, it has a high density foam in comparison to other products in the marketplace. You know, we build every door the same way, whether it is just your standard panel door or it's your upper echelon. As you see here with some of the examples, we use the same components, we use the same skin thickness throughout all our products, where you'll find some manufacturers in the market today do not, and it's an upcharge. I've had people actually ask me, oh, do you upcharge for HydroShield technology? Is that something you apply? Nope, I'm going to give it to you.
That's a nice way to say it. Does it make your life easier? Yeah. Before we got started, you were talking a little bit about the frame of the door. Can you talk a little bit about why that is also very important when it comes to specifying a door?
Absolutely. So traditionally, our frames are hung in wood or steel door. And once again, and you're going to hear this throughout the presentation or throughout our conversation here, you know, the splitting, the checking, the warping associated with that can happen to the frame as well. So with Plastpro was designed what we call a PF frame, polyfiber frame. It's a mixture of PVC as well as wood flour. It's a little bit more flexible, but back in the day, they had an old terminology when they said, well, you set it and forget it. Same with a Plastpro jam. So if you install a Plastpro door and a Plastpro frame, once it's installed correctly, you literally set that door, forget it, and don't have to worry about any other issues unless you decide to change the panel configuration or you want to put something different.
But then it'll be easier to switch out because the frame will not have warped.
Correct. It would have warp. You wouldn't see any water infiltration or any decaying of the frame, right? That when you have an all composite jam, but once again, it's how it's installed is what's key to any application for that.
So let's chat a little bit about sort of the custom aspect of working with Plastpro. What are some things designers can do to make the door like a one of a kind? Like what are some things designers should keep in mind when it comes to like customizing a door?
Well, as you can see here, and I'm glad you brought up these great examples because it kind of gives you an idea of the difference. So in essence, you have one that's a full light there and it has a wrought iron frame, right? You can put many different types of glass design, obscure glass, right? Many different configurations. They have some with different types of bevels, obscurity or satin etch or rain glass. These may be foreign to you, but I'm sure you'll look those up later on. There are many different textures that are available that you're able to play around and have fun with the door. Plus you can paint or stain it, as you see in examples here. You know, you have an example where shaker profiles, where it's nice, clean, crisp lines. We want that modern contemporary, but we like clean lines. So with the shaker door profile, you have that options. Then once again, you can put any different types of glass in that product. Modern contemporary, we have a door with different wood grains. So you'll have like a smooth grain. You have a knotty alder that you showed earlier, cherry, mahogany, alder. There's these many different types of wood grains to mimic, once again, to mimic the real wood. We have, as you see in one of the photos, a modern contemporary home, and it was just routed carved lines. Interior doors that you're designing or asking for have routed details in it to give it the little pop, in comparison to that. So,
I had a question here about, well, now I've forgotten it. So, let's just keep talking about how great doors are. When it
glad I'm not the only one.
I know, it's one of those days, I was going to ask about, like, when it comes to specifying different types of glass, like, are these tempered glasses? What should designers keep in mind if they want to use glass? Are there privacy concerns? Is there security concerns? Like, what should we think about?
Well, absolutely. And most glass typically is 1 inch thick.
Oh, wow,
is what you're dealing with. And people always think that, somebody can just come in and break the glass, and that's not the case. Because typically it's two pieces of glass, 2 panes of glass, or sometimes 3, right? And so it's many a times they're going to find the path of least resistance. You can put many different types of caming. It's like metal that's on the inside of the glass. You can, and that's one of the things that designers like as well. Because I have many trade partners that allow you to design your own type of glass to fit into the door, with that in comparison to others in the marketplace. So you can really have fun when it comes to the fiberglass door, just based on all the different options in glass profiles.
Does that affect the price at all? Does the amount of glass change the price of a door?
Absolutely. But you get what you pay for. A prime example in my own home is that I had a standard door that just had 2 panels in it. And me being in the door company, and not before I came to Plastpro, I decided to put a 3/4 glass with 2 panels below, and it had chevrons, and it kind of shaped like my hand, V's going down with different types of bevel glass. I installed that door and painted it up, and it was out working the yard. Everybody that came by and passed by loved the look of that door because all the others had panels on them. So it's the old English proverb: you get what you pay for, but it really adds value to your home, right? All about curb appeal.
Yeah. Okay, I remembered my question. I have 2 of them. One is about hardware. When it comes to picking out hardware, is that something that they can do with you, or is that something that you would recommend they work with one of your partners, or like how should a designer work on the hardware of a door? Because that can really affect the look and the feel and the function of a door.
Not only the door, not only the hardware, but the hinges play a role in that as well. Because if you don't think about it, but I guarantee you, once we are done with our conversation here, you're going to go look at your hinges and you're going to look at the hardware. They should match. But because that's not my forte, although I have enough working knowledge, I would direct them to one of our trade partners, because you can put any type of hardware on there. But just keep in mind, I would always suggest that you want to make sure that the hinges, as well as the handle sets or knobs, match. You got to coordinate, right? It gives that, once again, it gives that pop.
And by coordinate, you mean like, let's not have a polished chrome with like a brushed nickel or something. Got it.
Correct.
Okay.
And then also, even when it's mortised out on the inside of the jamb, they cut it out to where the bolt that's involved with the hardware, even that will match the lever handles as well.
Awesome. Well, I'm now going to look at all my doors, and I can guarantee you that I will be pretty irritated that nothing matches. And it's going to be because of you, Herb. So thank you for that. So we have our first question. My house was built in 1900. Nothing is straight, including our front door. I had a contractor tell me it wasn't worth replacing the front door because nothing was straight. Should I listen to them?
I would get a second opinion. The challenge you have was built 1900s, and so you don't know what to expect until you pull the old door out. But it can be corrected. So I would definitely suggest that you find someone else. Get, like they say, get 3 opinions.
Awesome. I also wanted to ask you, what are some trends you're seeing with doors in terms of look, in terms of feel, colors? Like, what are you seeing as sort of like the hot new thing in doors?
The hot new thing is basically a flush door out in panel configurations. And I think you had one of the slides. It was one of the multi-colors that had the light kits in it that we were discussing prior to this here. And so what that does, it's a flush door, but you're able to cut it out and put many different types of light configurations in it to give it your own unique look. And many of our customers out there today have designs that are well sought after in the marketplace. So what I'm seeing is flat lines, you know, different types of light kits that are being inserted into the doors, and then bright colors, but also dark colors. So the blacks, the grays, the base of the house is white. The door ends up being dark or black. Dark colors are arch nemesis to fiberglass doors. You know why? I'll tell you. Because the amount of heat that builds up with dark colors. Right? It makes sense, because why do you think we put light colors on when we go outside? Right? To help reflect the sun. The same thing when it comes to fiberglass. But dark colors are the popular colors today. Always use a heat reflected paint. It will significantly reduce the amount of heat.
Awesome. So I know there's like, I do feel like I see those doors all over, the flat ones with the 5 panels and the bright colors. Those are super hot right now. What are sort of like the old standard, like these will never go out of fashion? Like no matter what you do, like I hear it a lot from like the 3-form resin people where they're like the grass reeds in the resin, like will not go away. It will not die. What are some things where you're like, no matter what happens, these doors will always be popular?
So what you'll see out there, and everybody's familiar with it, you'll notice it has 6 panels. Door. That never goes away. Either be the 6, the 4 panel, or you'll see a 4 panel with what I call a wagon wheel. It's like a half, or you'll see a rectangular one with grids going between it. That's the hot item. For some reason, it never goes away.
Well, now I'm going to have to, during my like walks in the morning, I'm definitely going to start looking at them, and I'm going to see, because I know exactly what you're talking about. That wagon wheel. You're exactly right.
And I tell you, and it's going to be a sickness, because you're going to be walking through it and you go, oh my God, I never thought this before. Look at it. Looks disgusting on it. You could do something better.
I love it. So when it comes to working with different, if you have different sort of typologies of a house or a commercial building, it sounds like Plastpro can accommodate sort of any type of style or look. Is that accurate?
Yes, and what we're famous for is that we call it a flush glazed door. It's a full light door, but it's reglazable, just like you see here in an example. And what that means is you're able to put different obscured glass. So, you know, back to your earlier question, what's popular? Our flush glazed door, because it's reglazable and nobody else in the marketplace has it.
So if you get tired of a look, you can swap it out?
It's just not, you know, flipping a switch and swapping it.
Right, but at least it's easier than replacing a whole door.
Correct. And that helps, you know, if you happen to be out weed eating or doing some edging and you break the glass, and I can count on how many hands, but you know, it's that added security. When people find out that it's replaceable, they're sold on it. But that door is the most popular, especially in the downtown Portland area, 6.8, 8.0, and 7.0, because we're the only one on the marketplace that offers a door that's reglazed. That's
pretty great. Oh, I forgot to ask you about, well, here's a shot of the install, or the way that
the installation process there.
We just glazed right through that. I got so excited about trends. Designers, if you want to reach out and get some samples or chat with Herb about your door, if you're tired of looking at your door and now you've noticed that nothing matches and it upsets you, you can reach out right now and chat with him about doors, all things doors, it sounds like. So Herb, it was great chatting with you. I'm really excited to now get a new door. So that's great. And it sounds like one of our attendees is also going to pursue that option.
Not just any door, a Plastpro fiberglass.
And designers, I will say that next week is August. Insane. And we will be spending the entire month talking about all the materials that were installed in our new library. That schedule will go live tomorrow, I believe. So check that out. In the meantime, Herb, it was great chatting with you. I'm so excited about doors now. And we'll definitely be in touch.
Thank you so much for having me. Take care.
Thanks. Awesome. See you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.